Hello and welcome to Event Bestie Podcast, the show that unlocks the magic of event planning by taking you behind and before the scenes. I'm Tanya Hales. In today's episode, I'm chatting about the Met Gala, the biggest night of fashion and pop culture colliding. Andre Leon Talley called it the Superbowl of social fashion events, and he never lied. I'm breaking down what the Met Gala is, a review of the documentary First Monday in May, how it went from an event that only the few and the interested knew about to one of the most anticipated red carpets of the year, and what we can expect tonight and how you can watch. Let's get into it. Act 1, the basics. When I say the word art, what comes to mind? For most people who haven't stepped foot inside a museum in a while, most immediately think of paintings. Things on walls, maybe some sculptures, but it really took a long time for fashion to be considered art as well. Sexism plays a role here, of course, because fashion is frivolous and female and not seen as art in the traditional sense. But if I say J-Lo's dress, Michael Jackson's glove, Marilyn Monroe's dress, Hugh Hefner's robe, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Fashion is iconic. Fashion is art. How many times have we seen something on socials and we said, put that in the Louvre? We're saying that because we want to bottle up the magic and preserve it for future generations to see. And even if you don't care about super fancy people dressing up in clothes that you can't wear to the grocery store, what happens on the runways eventually ends up in your closet. Florals in spring, groundbreaking. If you know what line that movie is from, we are best friends. Here are the basics. What is the Met Gala? The Met Gala is a charity event and fundraiser for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. It's basically the opening night party for the annual fashion exhibit at the museum. According to WWD, the iconic fashion publication Women's Wear Daily, believe it or not, the Met Gala did have humble charitable beginnings. Because fashion wasn't always respected as an art form, it was also funded accordingly. Publicist Eleanor Lambert created it to raise funds for the institute. The first Met Gala was a dinner held in December with tickets going for $50. I don't even think you can get from one end of Manhattan to the other for $50. From its creation until 1971, the event was not held at the Met as it is today, but in such venues as Central Park, the Rainbow Room, and the Waldorf Astoria. But then everything changed when Vogue magazine editor Diana Vreeland entered the chat. It's been in the hands of current Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour since 1995. She moved it from December, which is very smart considering that New York, December, cold, winter, nightmare, to May, and to date under her leadership, the event has raised more than $223.5 million for the Costume Institute. The 2023 Met Gala raised nearly $22 million alone. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. What happens at the Met Gala? According to Vogue.com, that's kept largely under wraps. Guests must abide by a no phone and therefore no social media policy once they've entered the museum. But the run of show generally involves cocktails, dinner, and a high-profile performer or two. But WWD says in the past the event was, cocktail hour followed by dinner, but that in recent years the dinner has become more hors d'oeuvres, which, considering the price that I'm paying to be there, I'm going to need you to feed me a whole meal, Anna. Attendees also have the opportunity to explore the exhibition before it opens to the general public. What I love is the whole no phones, no social rules. We've seen controversies and conversations about this on TikToks, where guests don't want to have to abide by the no phone, no socials thing that a bride and groom might have implemented for their wedding. But if celebrities can do it, you can do it. It's also smart because it lets all the guests be able to truly enjoy themselves, let loose without worrying about an uncompromising shot ending up on TMZ. And Vogue can control the images that the public eventually gets to see. It's smart. I totally understand that. Fun fact, a favorite spot for selfies in years past has been the ladies' room, where numerous designers and models would sneak in and grab a cigarette until the Met put a firm foot down and banned the practice. The Met banned selfies. I think that's hilarious. Or maybe they were just banning the cigarettes, which, guys, you're in a museum. Fire, museum, those don't go together. Who was invited to the Met Gala? The event usually hosts about 450 attendees, welcoming stars, young creatives, and people who are at the pinnacle of their careers from the worlds of fashion, arts, sports, and politics. How much are tickets? According to a CBS News article from 2024, the cost of entry that year was $75,000. A 10-person table started at $350,000. When I say started at, that means that there is other tables that are probably more expensive, and that is probably in relation to where it is in the stage in the room. Anna, your mind. But first, they have to be invited. Not just anyone can buy a ticket or a table to the event. And celebrities don't necessarily pay to be there either. Instead, a fashion or design house springs for a table and invites guests they wish to host. So thinking through about a huge celebrity, a fashion house or design house, they want that celebrity wearing their items, of course. And it's way cheaper to just buy a table to the Met Gala than trying to sign them for a contract, or maybe this is just a test run to sign them for a contract, or trying to get, your own kind of publication and shoot in Vogue all on its own. So it really is a marketing endeavor for these fashion houses. But everyone has to be approved by Anna. She is in every aspect of this event, which we'll talk about later. And all this, people are just like, oh, it's just frivolous. And it is. It's a lot of money. It's pretty people wearing pretty things on a very expensive night. I totally understand it. But museums cost money. And considering that the general admission to the Met is $30 for adults, but free for New York State residences, your $30 is not paying for the housing, the upkeep, the cleaning of all of these artifacts that are literally priceless. So now you know, and could answer trivia questions about the Met Gala on Jeopardy! Act 2, the first Monday in May. You know, if there's an event planning, an event documentary, I'm going to watch it, right? Exactly. And while I'd already seen it before having this podcast, I felt like it was a good time to watch it again, just for you, just in case you don't have the time. The first Monday in May is the day the Met's Costume Institute opens a new exhibit. An exhibit for a museum is a limited time showcase for a particular element. Anna Wintour, editor-in-chief, Vogue, says it's rare to find someone who makes you look like an art form differently, and Alexander McQueen did just that. Alexander McQueen's Savage Beauty changed the game for the Met. The unfortunate timing of his death contributed to it, but it took the Met Gala and the Costume Institute's exhibitions to a whole new stratosphere. The documentary opens talking with Met's director, Andrew Bolton. They are on a mission to beat the McQueen exhibit in terms of visitors and revenue. Whether that was an internal pressure or an external one is unclear. It was a fascinating review of what it takes to put an exhibit together, mostly Andrew and the Met, the Gala, the Vogue team and the Met team, and all the crossover of all the Mets and all the Vogues and all the peoples. Anna, for instance, traveled with Andrew to Beijing. Other museum departments interjected with their feedback about the exhibit. It's literally the definition of too many cooks in the kitchen. The documentary's focus is on the exhibit called China Through the Looking Glass. My notes don't say why this particular theme was picked, but they are on the clock to build it. And y'all, there were so many parts of this documentary that stressed me out. Some examples. Andrew suggests putting a Mao uniform in the Buddhist room at the Met. And he's like, what's the big deal? A little bit of controversy. What could that harm? Now, I don't know a lot about China, but I feel like that's creating a political nightmare. It also felt very dismissive, and for people who don't play about their figureheads, Andrew's British, one would think he would have navigated that better. Thankfully, there were people around him like the director of the Asian art department, making sure that they didn't turn Chinese people into props, caricatures, and lean too much into the Americanized point of view of China. It's mere months until the exhibit opens, and he's still consulting with China about items. The exhibit seems to be leaning into old world China, dragons, the famous blue and white textiles, while China wants to make sure they are incorporating modern China. Shouldn't this conversation have happened like months ago, maybe even years ago? You see why I was stressed watching this thing? And then you have this added political tension of what the country, the relations between the two countries are. Those things are much bigger than Andrew and the Met. It is State Departments and embassies and all sorts of other things. Those are things that if you have to deal with other things in your timeline, you increase your timeline. You don't decrease your timeline. You increase it. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a girl sitting on her couch watching this documentary, getting stressed. 8 months to event day. Anna and Andrew are reviewing a storyboard where he's pulled a whole bunch of images for inspiration for the exhibit and therefore the gala. It was literally Pinterest in real life, and I loved it so much. For the Met Gala, ultimately, it is a celebration of multicultural moments, but the event planning components of the documentary felt very familiar. Lots of meetings with lots of people. In one particular discussion with Anna about the guest count, she said she wanted to keep it as low as she can. The previous year was 608, and so they were aiming for 500. She is on top of everything. Lighting, florals, ushers, napkins, everything. In Act 1, I touched briefly on invites, but this documentary gives us a little bit more of an insight. They are looking and tracking everything. Who's confirmed? Who's sitting with who? Who's red carpet press worthy? What has that person done lately? Nothing, LOL. Baz Luhrmann, you know that director guy, Baz? He compared the event to being a giant aquarium. One of the Vogue staff said, in regards to the seating chart, it's a lot of power brokering. The only stressful seating chart I can imagine would be like the Queen's funeral. But even then, that's planned decades in advance. The event staff review who has sat together before, whether it's at the Met Gala or other events. And while they may have moved their seating chart planning to an iPad, there's something about the Post-it note tabs with names and tables that warms my old school planning heart. If you've been in this game for a minute, you've had to plan at least one event with a lot of sticky notes. 5 months. 5 months, and they haven't gotten much done on the exhibit side, which feeds the gala side. Having it at the same place makes for some ease, of course, but I'm like, are we gonna make haste? Like, this was really stressing me out. Baz Luhrmann, the same director guy that I was talking about earlier, he was brought on as a creative consultant for the gala, and he referred to the first renderings of the gala entrance as a China amusement park. Egads, we're still just at the first renderings. 5 months, guys. At this point in the documentary, it's the end of December, and this thing is in May. That is a really tight turnaround time, and probably why these tickets are $75,000 a person, because the sheer number of people that need to be involved to get this gala to the level of where Anna Wintour expects it to be and demands it to be is going to take all $75,000. You're going to be paying for a lot of people, shipping things from Beijing, the unpacking, and that's just the exhibit. The event planner and me was very, 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 very perplexed, but I digress. Later on, there's a decor meeting at Anna's house where there's a small team looking at everything for the table settings, linens, napkins, cutlery. There's literally nothing that escapes her eye. And my only question was, Anna, don't you have a whole magazine to run? Like, how does one be Anna Wintour? I mean, yes, she's got assistants and such, but the lady's busy. 8 weeks. 8 weeks, and they just got approval to start building the exhibit. Now, one of my credos as an event planner is always asking clients this when they ask the impossible of me. Do you have the time or the money? Sometimes you have the time, but no money. In this case, there's money, but not a lot of time. That being said, with a lot of money, you can buy more time, but not always. I'd love to see the final bill with overtime, express shipment fees. You see why building an event budget is important? Because I know that they smashed that out of the park. And by smashed it out of the park, I mean killed their budget. On the gala front, the headliner for that year is Rihanna. And there's a problem. She's asking 2 times more than any previous performer. A quick email from the Vogue staff to Anna, and they're like, hey, Anna, time to bring out the big guns to ask for a drop in price. They are, after all, a charity, you know. 2 weeks. Work is still happening on the installation of the exhibit. At this point, I'm stressed like this hasn't literally happened years ago, but it's like watching sports, but make it fashion and art. 36 hours. There's something very satisfying about seeing a large paper calendar in Anna's house with important dates on it. While one of my love languages are calendar invites, you can't lose with paper. Someone also remind me to add one to my Staples cart. Thanks. Finally, event setup. 250,000 roses for the giant vase at the entrance. That is just the giant vase at the entrance. That's not the tables. That's not the outside carpet that we see. That's not the inside carpet that only the celebs see. So much flowers. Anna is doing a final walkthrough. She's pulling out chairs, seeing if they're too close together. I think she added a whole other table. There's guests who still didn't even have a seat. She really was thinking through the entire guest experience, which is really important, I think, for any event host to do. So if Anna Wintour can do it, you can and should do it. There's Rihanna doing her stage rehearsal. Yes, she's a pro. She's done every type of stage on the planet, but they still have to rehearse. Is that table or that thing going to hold her? What is she going to do? How is she going to move? She wants to practice all those things. That's still important. I love the mix of rounds and long table. I think it makes it very different and interesting. You speak differently with people when the table sizes are different, the table shapes are different. So I love the kind of trend towards mixing rounds and long table. This documentary is the closest I'll ever be inside a Met Gala, so I was a little sad to not see any additional behind the scenes and the final looks for the room. The best part of a stressful event is finally seeing it all put together, and I didn't get that, and it made me very, very sad. As for the exhibit itself, it too eventually got done, an immersive experience of sights, smells, and sounds celebrating China past, present, and future. And for the record, it did top the McQueen exhibit, so Andrew could rest. Speaking of rest, the Vogue social and editorial team are at the office at 4:30 a.m. the next day pulling shots to put together, which is insane because they probably haven't slept in 7 days and 7 nights, but all's fair in love and fashion for the first Monday in May. Act 3, what's on tap for tonight? Tonight, of course, is the first Monday in May and the night of the main event. On Wednesday, October 9th, the Met announced the Costume Institute's Spring 2025 exhibition, Superfine, Tailoring Black Style. Drawing inspiration from Monica Miller's 2009 book, Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism and the Styling of the Black Diasporic Identity, the exhibition is organized into 12 sections, each representing a characteristic that defines dandy style. Ownership, presence, distinction, disguise, freedom, champion, respectability, juke, heritage, beauty, cool, and cosmopolitanism. Basically, it's Black history in May, and I am here for it. Superfine will feature garments, paintings, photographs, and more from artists all exploring the indelible style of Black dandies from the 18th century through to the present day. So how will this manifest as a dress code? The 2025 dress code is formally called Tailored for You, a nod to the exhibition's focus on menswear and suiting. I've been watching a lot of sports recently, and I've been seeing tailored suits on men and women alike on broadcasts. Fashion, your influence, and your impact knows no bounds. I love it. Who is hosting the Met Gala? Coleman Domingo, Sir Lewis Hamilton, A$AP Rocky, Pharrell Williams, and LeBron James serving as honorary chair. Just letting you know that I am very interested in Lewis, who is a Met Gala exhibition all on his own. And I can see, long after he's retired from being an F1 driver and world champion X amount of times over, hopefully 8, that he's going to have something solely devoted to his iconicness in fashion. We all know Coleman Domingo and A$AP Rocky and Pharrell, how they rock their unique styles on a red carpet. So this theme, those men, I am so excited. Finally, how do I watch it? You can watch the live stream on Vogue's YouTube and social channels. I'll be on my couch super fine, and super comfortable. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, slide over to that subscribe button so I know it's real. Until the next time, we'll keep the red carpet ready for you.